What is going on, Brooklyn Nets fans? Welcome back to the Brooklyn Boys Show here on a Monday evening. We appreciate you all tuning in. Smash the like button, hit subscribe. It helps us grow the channel a ton. Toss any and all questions, comments, thoughts, reactions over in the chat. We appreciate you all tuning in on our road to 500 subscribers. So we appreciate you tuning in. Nets fans, in the latest Bleacher Report power rankings, the Brooklyn Nets were ranked dead last on their outlook for the 2025-26 season. Does Bleacher Report make valid points? Do I agree with what they're saying and the reasoning behind the Nets plummeting all the way to the bottom of those standings? We'll get into that and so much more here on the show. Again, smash like, hit subscribe. It helps us grow tremendously. Appreciate you all tuning in on our road to 500 subscribers. Andy Bailey of Bleacher Report comes out with his latest NBA power rankings just about a little a little over a week ago. And here is the Brooklyn Nets category. They were previously ranked 28th, but I will read you what Mr. Bailey has to say of Bleacher Report, and then we'll get into everything and dissect it. Andy's reasoning for why the Nets are ranked dead last in the league says, quote, the veteran leadership for the Brooklyn Nets will come almost entirely from Michael Porter Jr., who was acquired in the Cam Johnson trade. Nick Claxton and Terrence Mann additionally. Let that sink in for a moment, and then remember the fact that the Nets are rostering a whopping 5 first-round picks from this year's draft, including playmakers Yegor Dioman, Nolan Traore, and Ben Suraf. That's going to mean loads of mistakes from offensive engineers with no NBA experience and loads of losses to follow. It may be a big individual year for Michael Porter Jr., but the 2025-26 campaign will largely be about the 26th lottery for Brooklyn. Look, I think Andy makes a very valid point in that last sentence of his paragraph of his column here on the Nets. I don't think anybody in this fan base, anybody in the building, and not even the executive inside the Nets building who was anonymous, but we got to hear from in an article yesterday, thinks that the Nets are at all playoff bound or a play-in team or can provide any sort of stability to where they will be come the end of the season in terms of standings. But this is a Brooklyn Nets team that has their focus more on the lottery and where they will finish there, what their odds will look like heading into the 2026 draft lottery, how they will approach that. Obviously, the talent pool that is the 26 lottery, and it's really stacked. You have guys like AJ DeBansta, Cam Boozer out of Duke. So this is a big 26 class. And even though this Nets team is going to struggle, even though they do want to win games because they're an NBA franchise, they have to understand that at this point, the Brooklyn Nets can only hope to have a good lottery spot. This team cannot go far no matter if they trade for another all-star, they bring more talent into this building, a couple of these first-round picks pan out, this Brooklyn Nets team is not contending no matter what. So I absolutely agree with what Andy says in that final sentence there of the paragraph. But take your eyes back to the top where he says the veteran leadership will come entirely from Michael Porter Jr., Nick Claxton, and Terrence Mann. I don't know why that would be a bad thing. Michael Porter Jr. is a guy that is going to average, in my mind, close to 25 points a game. Is a guy who can stretch the floor, shoot three-pointers for you, be a solid defender, and overall be a very big plus in the locker room, be a very big plus in the development of a lot of these young rookies that the Nets brought in. So I would say that, look, this Nets team lacks depth. This Nets team is not going to go far. But Michael Porter Jr., Terrence Mann, I think those are going to be pivotal pieces in the Nets' foundation for their young talent. And this young core obviously is going to need to get adjusted to NBA life. They're going to need to ease slowly into the league. It doesn't make sense to rush, especially some of the later picks that you have, like Ben Saraf, like Danny Wolf, maybe even Drake Powell, onto the floor immediately in Brooklyn, as opposed to some of those high picks. It might not be the best idea to rush some of those guys onto the floor, but absolutely Terrence Mann, Michael Porter Jr. are going to be pivotal role players for what these young guys see as they grow to become bigger and better in the National Basketball Association. So I think that MPJ and Terrence Mann, that should have a very positive outlook on how the season will go rather than, just saying that this Nets team is going to be playing gutter ball, which, I think they are. But I think if we see enough growth and development from these young guys, and we see the veteran leadership in MPJ, Claxton, man, I would call this season somewhat of a success, even if you're not seeing that translate into the win-loss column into Brooklyn competing for a playoff spot. You can absolutely still have a positive outlook on the season. You can absolutely still take a lot of pluses away from this year, even if this Nets team is finishing close to last in the East, being one of the top 3 lottery odds at 14%, even if they are trying to trade away as much talent as they've got still on their hands at the deadline, trying to move away from those guys, clearly acquire other assets for them, and dealing those guys out, just looking overall to lose basketball games and having no interest in the playoff picture at all. Even if all of that occurs, this Nets team can still absolutely find positive outlooks on the season. They absolutely can still have a good year, even if that doesn't mean you're seeing that replicate over to the win. Smash the like button, hit subscribe, helps this community grow, pushes our content out to fellow Nets fans, and helps our community grow right here on the Brooklyn Boys Show. Thank you all so much for tuning in and sparing just a little bit of your Monday night to be on the program here with us, Josh Wolliver. I am your host here on the Brooklyn Boys. Smash like, hit subscribe, but more importantly, toss any and all questions, comments, thoughts in the chat. It's looking a little stale over there, so I'd love it if you guys could spice it up. Drop all your thoughts about the basketball community in the chat, and I appreciate that so much. Appreciate you all tuning in. You guys are the best. Let's move on to a little bit of the middle of what Andy from Bleacher Report has to say, of what Mr. Bailey acknowledges for the Nets this season. The rookies, Yegor Dioman, Nolan Traore, and Ben Saraf, the 3 rookies Bailey highlights as the ones who could be the biggest contributors on this team for Brooklyn during the 2025 season, as, quote, rostering a whopping 5 first-round picks from this year's draft, including playmakers Yegor Dioman, Nolan Traore, and Ben Saraf. I think absolutely the rookies have a huge impact on this team. But saying that Ben Saraf is going to be a difference maker and a big role player for this team makes no sense to me. And frankly, it's just, you drafted Saraf with the hope that he could be something big down the line, that he has the talent in him, and a lot of times with the international guys, it's a ton of potential-based stuff. It's a bunch of, he has the talent, but we're not sure if the team can develop him into something bigger. To say Ben Saraf, though, is going to be a bona fide playmaker and truly affect this Nets season, to me makes no sense. To me is not logical. Because you look up and down the depth chart, you look up and down the roster, where the heck does Ben Saraf fit into any of that? Whether he's a 1, 2, or 3. I talked about the busyness the Nets have at the small forward position. He's not even a true small forward at that. But shooting guard, I mean, if Cam Thomas is back on this team, which day by day it feels like he's got a less and less of a chance, but if he is, that significantly decreases Ben Saraf's run on this team. If you have guys in front of him, like a Nolan Traore, playing at a higher level, that significantly decreases Saraf's run. Unless it's mop-up time, Ben Saraf is not going to be making a big impact on this Nets team in the 2025 season. So to me, it doesn't make much sense to have him on here as a difference-making playmaker. Dioman, absolutely. Traore is a very interesting guy. Nolan Traore, somebody that I want to talk a little bit about because look, another international prospect coming out of France with the 19th pick. So you obviously believe in him if you think he has the talent to be a top 20 pick in the NBA draft. And you also thought that there was a chance other teams wanted him because, well, you had to pick 3 picks later at 22 with the Hawks. So there was only 2 chances for a team behind you to come in and swoop him up. But they thought that Traore was, fitting enough with this Brooklyn Nets system because there's a wide open door in terms of shot selection on this team. We have Michael Porter Jr. established, but after that, there is no person that you can say this guy's going to get that amount of shots allocated to him. I think Jordi Fernandez is going to just play it by ear constantly, continue rotating who he's creating open looks for, continue rotating through what the system and what type of shots guys are looking for and if they should be passed first. Heck, I don't even think Yegor Dioman, being the 8th pick in the draft, being the Nets' high lottery pick this year, has already established that whatsoever. I think absolutely he's going to have to earn it, have to bump up that not so great 3-point shooting percentage from his time at BYU. Look, if he can be a solid facilitator, I don't need him to be a lights out shooter, Dioman I'm talking about. Don't need him to be a lights out shooter, but absolutely helps him, almost scare defenses into making him if he is a lights out shooter, it scares defenses into stepping up, opens passing lanes, absolutely, spreads the floor and gets teammates involved, which is overall the type of facilitating you're looking for a guy like this to do. Traore, though, it could be a very, very big swing year for him in his rookie season. I could see him being a starter in the back half of the year post-trade deadline, where the Nets are just looking to see what they truly have in some of this young talent. I could absolutely also see Traore battling for end of the bench minutes and being the 10th guy in the rotation at the end of the season, not having proven anything and still struggling as a shooter. Look, so many ways and places for Traore for the rest of this team to grow, but let's talk about the way that Mr. Bailey follows up that sentence by saying that's going to mean loads of mistakes from offensive engineers with no NBA experience and loads of losses to follow. Yet, at the beginning, Bailey highlights the veteran leadership of MPJ and Terrence Mann. If those guys effectively play their role off the court, that means that these guys will have an easier ease into the NBA. And yeah, inexperience is going to come with every NBA player who steps on the NBA court. There's no doubt about it. First time jitters, it's a rookie season. You're not used to NBA level defenses, and you got 5 guys playing against you that are all of a higher caliber than you played last year. So, yeah, you're going to have adjustments to make. But look, I wouldn't say that if you have your veterans executing and performing and teaching and almost coaching at a high level, I don't think that it's pre-called for these rookies to be as inexperienced as some think, or for them to, lack the knowledge of what it takes to bring this Nets team value, to bring this Nets team wins, and at least give them a positive outlook for seasons to come, if not this one itself. Smash the like button, hit subscribe, load all your questions, comments, thoughts in the chat. I got basically nobody in the chat right now, so you can cut the line, my friends. If you are here in the building listening live, you can load everything you got to say up in the chat. Appreciate you all tuning in on this Monday edition of the Brooklyn Boys. We'll take a break. Be right back. Load every single one of your questions, comments, thoughts. I'll get into all those in just a second.
You are listening to the Brooklyn Boys Show with your host, Connor Long. If you're enjoying the show, Drop us a sub and leave a like. It helps more Nets fans find us. Quick break, then back to talking Brooklyn Nets basketball.
Today's episode of the Brooklyn Boys Show is brought to you by our presenting sponsor, Shoreline Sports Cards, located at 137 Main Street in Port Washington, New York. Whether you're chasing the newest hobby boxes, grabbing singles, or just want to talk cards with fellow collectors, Shoreline is the spot. They've got a massive selection across basketball, football, baseball, and more, with new inventory hitting the shelves every single week. If you're local, make sure to stop by the shop at 137 Main Street in Port Washington and check it out for yourself. If you're not in the area, no worries at all. You can still keep up with Shoreline by following them on Instagram, eBay, and whatnot for product drops, live breaks, deals, and hobby updates. All links are right in the description down below. Huge thanks to Shoreline Sports Cards for supporting the show and the Brooklyn Nets community.
Josh Wooliver here with you on a Monday evening edition of the Brooklyn Boys Show, getting ready to wrap up soon. Unless you have any final questions, comments, thoughts, say what's up to Rep NY in the chat. Appreciate you, Rep NY, a fellow Yankee and Jet fan in the building. Appreciate you tuning in as always, my friend. But look, there's a lot of question marks on this Nets team. How will the rookies play? How will the veterans play? Is this coaching staff ready for the task of what it means to course through, to navigate another NBA season under head coach Jordi Fernandez? Those are all the questions that this Nets team needs to answer. And, we might have some soon on our road to 500 subscribers. Smash the like button and hit subscribe. We are just about, 56 subscribers away from 500. So if you could help us, Connor and I, reach that milestone, it would mean a ton. You guys are the best. I'm going to log off here soon because, got to celebrate my brother's birthday right now. But thank you all so much for tuning in. Appreciate all of your support. And I'll leave you with one final sign of hope, as always. Let's go Nets, baby. Connor is headed to Italy tomorrow morning, I think. So he's going to have a time adjustment. We'll try to coordinate shows, just as a programming note. We'll try to coordinate shows so that his time zone and ours here on the East Coast, here in America, will line up together and stay steady with that. But no doubt we'll be still pushing daily Nets content, whether it's me, whether it's Connor, whether it's the two of us. No doubt that there will still be daily Nets content. So probably not tomorrow for Connor. I'm guessing that he's going to be jet lagged after a long, 8-hour flight over the pond to Europe. I'm not sure. I've actually never been to Europe, but I wish I have. I hope to get there someday. But we'll see how jet lagged Connor is. I'm guessing he probably won't be on the show for another day or two, Timothy. Appreciate the concern. Appreciate the kind words. You're doing a great job holding down the fort. Timothy, means a ton. Appreciate you and everyone else tuning in. Smash the like, hit subscribe here on a Monday edition of the Brooklyn Boys Show. Let's go Nets. Good night, everybody.